Hello and welcome back to another video from IQ Coding House. And today's video, I'm going to share some or a few just random checklist that is actually the code review checklist. And I think many of us are got confused during code review, like which things I should review, which things I should not. Then, so this video actually those is actually for those people who are actually got confused. So don't skip this video, just keep watching. Well, so the first checklist would be architectural and design integrity. So during code review, you need to consider this point, and you need to ask yourself, like, does the change fit the broader system architecture and establish design patterns like solid principles? So you need to actually ask yourself, like, whether that changes that actually raised that like actually fit the architecture, like the system architecture, or is like does it break the design principles or not? So you need to keep in mind. And also you need to ask yourself that does the code introduce unnecessary coupling or violate separation of concerns? So is does the code like, is there any unnecessary coupling or not, or violate separation of concerns? So you need to actually keep in mind. And also you need to keep in mind that is existing functionality preserved, and does the new code avoid architectural drift? So if you found, like, if you found something that the existing feature might broke due to these changes, then you should raise your flag. So that is the thing you need to keep in mind, that is existing functionality preserved or not. So the fact is, actually, Google's engineering practices emphasize optimizing for the speed of the entire team over individual coding speed. So making, I think, making architectural adherence. So it's actually very crucial uh, for long-term velocity. Well, the second checklist would be like the correctness and edge case. I mean, you need to think about, you should not, like, you don't always, like, if you always think about the happy path, then like after deploying that changes on production, like something might break, and then, oh, okay, I got it. This is the edge case. I just forgot. So you need, as a reviewer, to prevent this, as a reviewer, you need to think of those edge cases. I mean, does the code fully implement the solution described in the PR, or like does it including all the requirements, or does the changes miss something? So you need to think about it, right? And also that the thing you need to keep in mind, that all the use cases and failure scenarios, like, properly handled. It can be like null inputs, empty list, or error conditions. It can be anything. So the fact is, like, the design and the code reviews can detect, I mean, around 55 to 60% of defects, whereas testings alone, I mean, if you like testing alone, that actually typically catches only 25 to 45%. So it's really pretty less. So code reviews are really really important. Well, the third point, like the third checklist, should be performance and efficiency. You need to think about the performance. I mean, does the changes are optimized, or or is there any blockneck on the changes? Like, are there any obvious performance bottlenecks, such as in plus one database queries, or it can be inefficient loops or excessive memory uses? So you need to close look eye on those things. And also you need to think about that, are appropriate data structures and algorithm used or not? Like, if it is a bad coding, or if that implementation are in, like, the brute force way, then you need to think of it, and you need to raise your flag and suggest that developer that please use appropriate data structure and algorithm. So that is also this is also important. Well, so the The next checklist is like the security and the data privacy. I mean, is all users like input properly validated and sanitized to prevent common acts like SQL injections might happen, or excess attack might happen. So you need to think about it like the security and data privacy, or is there any security leakage on the changes? And also you need to think about like if is there any secrets or API keys or passwords are hard coded or exposed mistakenly. Like sometimes we console log the secrets or API keys in our development purpose and mistakenly push the changes and raise the peer. So as a reviewer, you need to look into those. And also they should be managed through secure environment variables or vaults. And also you need to think that are authentication and authorization mechanisms correctly implemented and sufficiently granular. So that's also you need to think about. And I would like to recommend you to check was top 10 list serves as a globally recognized standard for the uh, I mean most critical web application security risk, and should be a mental checklist during code review. So that is the thing, important thing like the security. And the next test like the checklist would be testability and testing quality. I mean, is the code easy to test, and does it include sufficient unit and integration test? So testing is really important because next time when someone changes something on that area, then it might caught on the testing. I mean, on the test run, because like if that changes break that existing implementation. So you need to look on those like to maintain them, like to keep the implementation scalable and solid. You need to suggest the whether the changes have sufficient unit and integration test or not. So it's not always necessary that the changes required unit and integration test, but you need to think about if it's required, then please suggest. And also sometimes the common mistakes among the developers is they actually forgot about covering the happy path and the negative scenarios. So you need to test actually the both. I mean, as a reviewer, you need to test the both. I mean, happy path and the negative scenarios, and are they clearly named and independent? So the actual fact is that Google's engineering standards often mandate that tests are submitted with every significant code changes, and ensuring testability is, I mean, the code design considerations in Google engineering team. Well, and the next point is really interesting, like the mentorship and communication. I mean, let's say you find something on that peer, and how you actually communicate with the developer, so that developer don't hurt, or developer don't get disappointed by the approach. You actually frame feedback as coaching. I mean, you can ask questions like what led you to this approach, or rather than making demands. I mean, so that they can, like the developer, like feel comfortable. And also you can like use tags in comments like nitpick, suggestion, or issue, so that it actually clear indicate the intent, I mean, and the urgency. And obviously, you need to practice a positive feedback culture where actually comments are seen as a growth opportunity rather than a personal attacks, and so which is actually crucial for team morale. So just keep in mind to be, I mean, very polite during providing the suggestions. Well, and the next checklist is like the automation and the process adherence. I mean, you need to ensure the automated tools like linters, formatters, static analysis, CI checks are passing. I mean, you need to introduce those things so that they are doing the boring stuff. I mean, like that, and to free up human reviewers like for high value tasks. And you need to confirm the peer size is reasonable. I mean, ideally under 400 lines of code and has a clear description of the why and not just the what. So this is really important because you need to look into that the clear description of the why. So then actually the reviewer can understand. If the description is not well described, then you stop the review and ask the developer or request that developer please provide enough information so that the reviewer can give a good feedback. So actually, reviewing code at pace faster than 500 lines per hour usually results in missing more defects. So I think less. The small PR would be nice. So you can just suggest that things to the developer. Well, so I think you already got enough information about code review checklist. So it can be many. So the checklist can be many. So I think this video actually give you an idea like how you actually think during code review. And I hope you enjoy this video. And thanks for watching. And if you like this video, then subscribe to IQ Coding House. So see you on next video. Till then, good luck.